Good morning children. I welcome you all to the next video of class 11th business studies. We have started with the third chapter, that is private, public and global enterprises, and this is the fourth part and we are going to conclude the chapter in this video. We are going to start with the changing role of public sector. Changing role of public sector, government policy towards the public sector since 1991. So Government of India has introduced four major reforms in public sector in its new economic policy of 1991. They are restructure and revive potentially viable PSUs, that is public sector units. Then close down the PSUs which cannot be revived. Then third, bring down the government equity in all non-strategic PSUs to 26% or lower if necessary, and fully protect the interest of the workers. Now steps have been taken to achieve the above mentioned elements. What are the steps? First, reduction in the number of industries reserved for public sector from 13 or which are from 17 to 8 and then to 3. In industrial policy 1956, there were 17 industries reserved exclusively for public sector. In 1991, industrial policy, the number was reduced to 8, and in 2001, it was brought down to 3. And these are atomic energy, arms and railway transport. Okay. This means private sector could enter in all the areas except these 3. Then next is disinvestment of shares of a select set of public sector enterprise. This means disinvestment refers to the sale of equity shares of public sector units to private sector and public. The government decided to withdraw its holdings from PSUs and encourage more participation of public sector in managing the public sector units. This was expected that it will improve managerial efficiency of PSUs. The primary objective of privatization are releasing the large amount of public funds, then reducing debt and interest burden, then transferring the risk from public to private sector, reducing government control and discouraging government monopoly, that is telecom industry. Then the third one is policy regarding risk units to be the same as that for the private sector. All the loss-making public sector enterprises were handed over to BIFR, that is Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction. So they decided to wind up some very sick units and to revive and rehabilitate some other sick units where there is scope to convert them into healthy units. So there is a lot of opposition shown by the workers. They were decided to close down. So the Government of India set up a national renewal fund to rehabilitate and compensate the workers and offer them various voluntary retirement schemes also. Then Memorandum of Understanding, that is MOU. The public sector is given greater autonomy. They are given the targets, and to achieve these targets, these units are granted operational freedom, but they are accountable for not achieving the result on time also. Okay, then we move ahead to the next topic, that is multinational companies or global enterprises. Very important point. So, what are multinational companies? They consist of two different words, multi and national. Multi means many and national means countries or nations. So, multinational company means which are operating in many countries. Okay. For example, it can be Coca-Cola, Hyundai, Nike, Reebok. So, a multinational corporation owns and manages business in 2 or more countries. What are its features? So, first feature is giant size and huge capital resource. The assets and sales of multinational companies are quite large. These companies operate on large scale. Their operations are so large that sometimes their sales turnover exceed the gross national product of a developing country also. You can take the example of IBM. It has exceed $8 billion. Then centralized control. Branches of multinational companies spread in different countries and are controlled and managed from the headquarters located in the home country. Okay. Then advanced technology. Multinational companies make use of latest technology to supply world-class products. They employ capital-intensive technology and innovative techniques. Then next is expansion of market territory. Due to its vast resources and excellent marketing skill, a multinational corporation has access to international market also, and it is able to sell its products in different countries also. Then oligopolistic powers means power in the hands of few companies only. Due to their giant size, the multinational companies occupy a dominating position in the market. So they also take over other firms to acquire huge power. It can be, example can be Hindustan Lever Limited acquired Tata Oil Mills, okay, to improve its market share. Then product innovation. These enterprises have highly sophisticated research and development departments engaged in task of developing new products and superior designs of existing products also. Then marketing strategies. What does this mean? That they spend huge amount on marketing. They use aggressive marketing strategies in order to increase their sales in short period. Their advertising and sale promotion techniques are normally very effective. Then last is foreign collaboration. Global enterprises usually enter into agreements with Indian companies pertaining to their sale of technology, production of goods, use of brand names for the final products. Okay. Now we are going to move ahead to the next topic. Next topic is joint venture. What is joint venture? When two or more firms join together to establish a new enterprise, then it is known as joint ventures. Okay, examples are Tata Iron and Steel Company joined hands with IPCOL, that is a government enterprise, to promote the IPI Tata Sponge Iron Limited. Okay, so what are the features? Basically, features of joint venture: it increases the resource and capacity. In joint venture, companies get larger resources, financials, as well as